With Thanksgiving coming up, I thought it was appropriate to talk about the first Thanksgiving. The first thing you need to know about are the Pilgrims. Pilgrims were a group of religious people from England. They were separatists, and that meant that they wanted to split from the Church of England. That's why they traveled to America. So, what did the Pilgrims wear? Boys wore breeches, they were knee length pants, stockings, a doublet or a short coat, and their belts were actually just they had to tie their breeches to their doublets. Girls wore garters to hold up their stockings, petticoats, a shirt jacket called a waistcoat, a coif, which is a tight-fitting hat, and their pockets weren't actually inside their skirts, they were actually a small bag tied around the waist. And this is just a picture to give you a better idea of what they would look like. So the Mayflower was the boat that the Pilgrims traveled to America in. It weighed 180 tons, which is about the same as 30 adult elephants. On September 6, 1620, the Mayflower left England with 102 passengers and sailed over 3,000 miles. Pilgrims planned to set course for Virginia, which was right around Jamestown, where Englishmen had previously settled. Pilgrims first landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and walked on Plymouth Rock. The exact location has never been unknown because its location has been passed down from father to son from the very beginning, and it is a very important symbol in American history. The Mayflower Compact was signed in 1620 on the Mayflower on its way to America. It basically recognizes their loyalty to the King of England, but decided that the Pilgrims would govern themselves. Native Americans had lived in the area for thousands of years before the Pilgrims settled there, and the Wampanoag tribe were the tribe who lived in the Massachusetts area. So the Wampanoag tribe, the name means Eastern people, land where the sun comes up first, or people of the first light. They spoke Algonquin language. They were hunters and gatherers. Their clothing was made of deerskin, and they were very religious people. They gave thanks for gifts from Mother Earth and believed in the cycle of life. So daily life, the Pilgrims had houses that looked a lot like an English cottage. Some of the food they ate would be duck, cornbread, curds, pudding, and shellfish. And some of their chores would include planting and harvesting their crops, tending to the fires. Fire was needed for a lot of different chores during their daily life. Cutting firewood, fertilizing the garden, and getting water. And the Wampanoag homes, they were called awetus. They were basically saplings bent in shape, covered with woven grass. The food they ate were fish, rabbit, squirrel, turkey, and deer. And some of their chores included bearing food for the winter and fetching water and firewood. And these are pictures of homes. On the left is a picture of what a pilgrim's house might look like, and on the right is a weedus. So the first Thanksgiving feast, as a part of their religious beliefs, Pilgrims always celebrated a day of Thanksgiving, but it wasn't always celebrated with a feast. And today we celebrate Thanksgiving because the Pilgrims wanted to thank Native Americans for the help with the first successful fall harvest. Some of the food that was eaten included venison, goose, duck, turkey, fish, and cornbread. The relationship between the Wampanoag and Pilgrims wasn't as friendly after the feast. As more and more British settlers came to the Massachusetts area, they tried to push out the tribe so they could have more land for themselves. The British tried to trick the Wampanoag men by giving them alcohol and getting them to sign land sale papers while they were drunk. The chief of the Wampanoag people tried to put an end to this, but When the Englishmen refused, a war began. The British men won the war and took many lives. Their survivors were sent into slavery, and many others were sent into hiding. The Wampanoag were then outlawed to live in Massachusetts area after the war. President Lincoln declared 2 national Thanksgivings in 1863. One was in August to remember the Battle of Gettysburg, and the other was in November, which was for general blessings. Today we celebrate with a lot of different modern traditions. We have a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and most people celebrate with Thanksgiving dinner with their family, which includes stuff like turkey, cranberries, stuffing, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin pie. And what are some of your Thanksgiving traditions that you have with your family? And this is just some of my sources.